Good morning, my dear friends. Today, the second part of yesterday's class, Routes of Drug Administration. Okay, let us just summarize what we have studied last class. Classification of routes of administration, two types, systemic or local. Systemic was further divided into enteral and parenteral. We dealt with enteral group, that is enteral is further divided into oral, sublingual and rectal. In parenteral, we just dealt with the injection part, that is intravenous, intramuscular, subcutaneous and intradermal. I had asked you to find out the answer for all the questions. I hope you all have done with it. If yes, please do our answer. Only six of you are there. Please do answer in the comment box of this um, of this part. Okay. Okay. Now we'll go deal with the transdermal and inhalation of parental group. Then we will also study about the local application, that is skin, which is a topical, intranasal, ocular, and mucosal. Also inhalation can also come under local, because local either it can come under local or parenteral. Okay. And transdermal, these are topics which can come under both local as well as parental, but usually we write it or we classify them under parental group. Now, summarize or think about the two drugs that can be given rectally. Can you give me two examples? Okay, the answer for the question is diazepam and paracetamol. I had mentioned in my last class that two classical examples for rectal administrations are paracetamol and diazepam. The dosage form of drugs that can be given rectally is known as suppositories. Now, what is enema? Have you ever heard about the term enema in any cinemas at least? It is nothing but soap and water solution injected into the rectum to evacuate the fecal matter. Now, how is it administered? Through rectum or rectally administered. Now, heparin. Heparin is another drug. It is an anticoagulant. Your task is to tell me how it is being administered. It should be there in the comment box. Okay. Okay. What is parental route of administration? As I mentioned you, parental route of administration is any administration apart from enteral route. That is anything that excludes oral route, oral, rectal, or sublingual route. Okay, two drugs given intradermally. Can you give me two examples of drugs that are given intradermally? First one, Mandoc. Mandox test is nothing but to distinguish or differentiate a patient is having tuberculosis or not. Second one, BCG injection. BCG is nothing but a vaccine that is being given in the upper forearm. I hope you all have a mark on your hand, birth scar, mark or a scar on your hand, which indicates a injection of BCG. Others. Others. I had asked you to read out the other injection parts, isn't it? Here comes the others: intrathecal, intraarterial, and intraarticular. Now, as the name suggests, intrathecal is nothing but injection of the drug into the spinal cord spaces. Intraarterial, as again arterial, the name itself has the term. Here, injection of the drug into the artery, and intraarticular, nothing but injection of the drug into the articular surface or the joint. Now, can you think about any drug that can be given in the arterial part? It is nothing but all the dyes which are used for all the angiograms, cardiac angiogram, cerebral angiogram, to rule out if there is any block or not in the arteries. Okay, coming with the discussion of the first topic, intrathecal injection. As you see, the needle tip is inserted into the epidural space. Here the drug is deposited into the epidural space and the effect is produced, or the effect is direct absorption into the vascularity. Here usually intrathecal procedures are usually followed in anesthetic drugs, and this procedure is usually seen in spinal anesthesia. Intrathecal administration is the route of administration of drug via an injection into the spinal canal or into spinal arachnoid space, subarachnoid space, so that it reaches the cerebrospinal fluid and is useful in spinal anesthesia, chemotherapy, or pain management application. Coming to intra-articular, as I told you, the name suggests injection into the articular spaces. Here, usually we inject antibiotics and corticosteroids, which are corticosteroids where a joint is inflamed. To relieve the pain and inflammation, we usually inject antibiotics and corticosteroids. Example, hydrocortisone in rheumatoid arthritis. Intra-arterial, injecting the drug into the artery. What is an arterial line? An arterial line is nothing but a cannula placed in position in a peripheral artery such as a radial artery, brachial artery, dorsalis pedis artery and femoral artery. I hope you all know with these arteries as you're fresh from anatomy. So any cannula placed in these arteries are called an arterial. Transdermal patches, one of the most common questions that are being asked for your theory exam. This part, please concentrate. Few questions are always being asked from this part of the topic. As you see in the picture, a patch is being placed on the hand. From here, the drug is stored in the patch, in this patch, and it is being released uniformly released into the body whenever necessary. So this can be placed at least for 2 to 3 days. No need, very advantageous. No need to swallow the tablet or have painful injections, and first pass metabolism is also less. First pass metabolism is not there, I should say. Okay, in transdermal patches, what kind of drugs are being placed? Highly lipid soluble drugs are applied in this, are stored in these patches because lipid soluble drugs are easily permeable to the skin and have a very good absorption rate. And also, these drugs are bypassed from the liver, or there is no first pass. Now, transdermal patches, as you see in this picture, a patch is being placed on the skin. In this picture, the different layers of skin are also being shown. First, the dermis, first the skin, stratum corneum, then the epidermis, dermis, and the hypodermis. Now, a patch is placed on the stratum corneum. So, uh, before we place this patch, there will be an adhesive layer above it. From there, we remove a stick and place it over the skin. That is the superficial layer of the skin, that is stratum corneum. From here, the drug is taken in, or liposoluble enters the skin and reaches the vascular circulation directly. When it reaches the vascular circulation, they directly into the systemic circulation. Okay, so TDP, nothing but transdermal patches, are form of adhesive patches of various size and shape which deliver constant rate of drug through systemic circulation via the stratum corneum. Our adhesive or transdermal patches are placed over the stratum corneum. From there, drugs penetrate into the skin, reaches the vascularity, and they are absorbed into the systemic circulation. And a constant rate of drug is being delivered into the circulation. Now, going into detail of what happens, what is the mechanism of action that takes place inside the transdermal patch. Now, you see, if you see in the picture, uh, the dot is the reservoir. Okay, reservoir means where the drug is being stored. This drug is being held between the backing up film and rate controlling micropore. Rate controlling micropore decides how much amount of drug should be absorbed by, how much drug should pass through the micropore and reach the skin. So the drug is held inside in a reservoir between the occlusive backing up film and a rate controlling micropore, undersurface of which is smeared with an adhesive impregnated with a priming dose. That is nothing but there's a sticker below the rate controlling micropore which is being removed, uh, placed on the skin. That too has a priming dose. Later, the drug that is present inside the which is present in the reservoir will pass through the micropore, reach the skin, and reach the skin depending upon on a constant rate. So this this is another picture of the above mentioned packing up film reservoir. Reservoir is nothing but the drug. The drug storage area is known as the reservoir. Micropore are those broken up boxes present, and the adhesive layer are hairy line structure present below the micropore, and then comes the skin. First, we take out the adhesive layer, place it over the skin, and through the micropore, the drug which is placed in the reservoir are leaked into it and reaches the skin. The adhesive layer is protected by another film that is peeled off just before application. This is what I told you before. A sticker will be slimy film will be there before film will be there above the adhesive layer, which is being removed before we apply it over the skin. Now, delivery of drug. If you ask me biochemically, or how it happens is diffusion by percutaneous absorption into the circulation. That is, the drugs enter the skin through diffusion, and from here they are absorbed into the circulation by the vascularity present in the dermis. The micropore is such that the rate of drug delivery to the skin is less than the slowest rate of absorption from the skin. Okay, that is, this determines the rate of absorption, and it is lowest than that of the skin absorption from the skin. Examples of drug that can be given transdermally are nothing but GTN, that is glyceryl trinitrate, fentanyl, nicotine, and estradiol. The advantages of using transdermal patches: smooth plasma concentration, that is the level of plasma concentration will be same equal every time. Little or no first pass metabolism. As I told you, they are directly absorbed into the vascularity of the dermis. It enters the systemic circulation directly without entering into the liver. Then it is convenient and better for better patient compliance. Convenient in the sense that no need to remember to have the tablet. If it is a tablet, we should think and remember the next time we should have. If a patch is being placed, no need to remember of getting it every time. Here the patch will give out the drug in a constant rate, and also patient compliance will be better. Also, it is a non-invasive procedure, no painful condition, and dosage can be stopped before removing the patch. The only disadvantage with these patches are that is they are very very expensive. Normal layman cannot afford it because one patch may go above their normal value. So the advantage, if you ask, disadvantage if you ask me, they are very very expensive and designed to last for 1 to 3 days only. A patch will expire in 3 days. Their drug will finish off in 3 days. So expensive and designed only for 1 to 3 days. Now coming to inhalational route. Inhalational route, you can either take it in two forms. Inhalation, either inhaling the drug into the lungs or inhaling the drug through the nose. So inhalation definition: inhalation is any drug or solution of drug administered by nasal or oral respiratory route. Now inhalation is a movement of air from external environment through airways and into the alveoli. Usually it is that inhalation of drug into the lungs, that is what is known as inhalation. Okay, drugs that are usually inhaled through mouth are known as inhalation drugs. Now, usually it is used to treat asthma. Now, drugs that are usually used inhalation include salbutamol, budesonide, inhalation anesthetics. Now, few examples of drugs that can be given inhalationally are budesonide, chromyl sodium, bronchodilators like salbutamol, terbutaline, and anticholinergic drugs, plus anesthetic drugs like opioids. Now look into this picture. Two drugs which are given inhalationally. One is nothing but a form of inhalation drug, that is nebulization for treatment of asthma. Those people who has wheeze during an episode of asthma, we usually give drug in inhalation form. That is a boy inhaling drug into the lungs to relieve out bronchospasm. The second picture shows nothing but an intubating tube-like structure connected to a machine. The machine is not shown in the picture. This is nothing but inhalation anesthetics are being given through these tube-like structures where they are anesthetized, usually in general anesthesias. So two groups of drugs that can be given inhalationally are bronchodilators and general anesthetics. Coming to local application. Local applications, as you see in the picture, there are different forms. One, eye topically over the eye drops, topic of the skin. When inhalational drugs also come under topical, as I mentioned earlier, then ear drops. Okay, topical dosage forms. Those dosage forms for topical administration includes skin. Under skin, the different dosage forms are creams, ointments, lotions, gels, transdermal patches, and discs. Okay, transdermal patches I dealt earlier. Then comes creams, ointments, and lotions. I hope you all might have applied these over your skin at least once in your lifetime. Next, coming to eye or ear drops, it includes solution. Different dosage form includes solution, suspensions, and ointments. Under the nose, local application includes sprays and powders. Under that comes inhalation route. Okay. Okay, here are a few pictures of topically applied creams. As you see in this picture, we can see one very commonly used emollient, that is Vaseline. So, mode of application is nothing but topically over the skin. The others are antibiotic creams, usually prescribed for wounds and. Okay, here another flow chart for intranasal drug. As you see the red line is nothing but inhalation of drugs that are abused form of drug cocaine, and the blue lines that is where they are used therapeutically. Now, therapeutically in osteoporosis, calcitonin, then desmopressin in diabetes insipidus, and nasal decongestants are also inhaled into the nose, plus mometasone furoate and other corticosteroids, which are mometasone, which is otherwise which is a corticosteroid which is inhaled into the nose. Okay, so this is the summary of inhalational drug or intranasal inhalation of drugs through nose. Only through nose, not through mouth, only through nose. Intranasal inhalation can be either to inhaling, I am clearing it out, inhalation can be either inhaling drug through the mouth or through the nose, but intranasal means only through the nose. Commonly our Otriven, as you see in the advertisement, they are through inhalation through the nose, nasal decongestion to open up our nose if we have any cold. Okay, now coming to drugs that can be given inhalationally. Think and understand inhalationally. So the answer for the question is two drugs. And if I ask you two groups of drugs, then one is bronchodilators, that is drugs used in treatment of asthma. Second one, general anesthetic for anesthesia. Here, just the question is two drugs, not groups of drugs. So two drugs can be any bronchodilator, salbutamol and ipratropium. Now, two drugs that are given transnasally, the above flowchart, calcitonin and desmopressin. Two topical eye drops. Here you should go find out two topical eye drops and answer me in the comment box. Okay, two topical eye drops. I hope everybody has seen at least grandparents putting drops into their eye, isn't it? Next time, go check into the content of the eye drop, what they are applying into their eye. Okay, either can be an antibiotic and an anti-allergic drug. Now, name two drugs that are commonly used as eardrop drugs. Okay, answer should be there in the comment box. Okay, thank you all for your attention. If you have any doubt, do ask in the comment box. But before all these, please do answer the question for what I have asked you today. I have asked you a few questions. The last two questions, topical eye drops and topical ear drops, must be mentioned in the comment box of this part. Okay. Then, if I don't see the answer, I'm surely going to cut off all your attendance for this class. Then tomorrow I'll be uploading my quiz for the above topic. For that, you should answer them within the allotted time. Anybody who completes it after that time will not get their attendance. Okay. Thank you all.